Yeah. That's probably fun. It's probably fun.
No, actually, like the last the last time when we recorded,
You get the guitar solo.
yeah, like really loud.
Yeah, that's about right. You know, tell your dad to just knock it off.
No, never.
Padre.
A soldier's life is all I've had the honor to know.
What if that wasn't like part of his helmet? That's just how his hair looked.
I would have liked to
The red stuff,
Yeah,
the red frill
yeah.
on it.
He has a
Like,
hole at the top of the helmet so his hair can come through.
that'd be a really impressive hairstyle. That would be,
be
especially like
pretty
because it's horizontal instead of like, well, it's not necessarily horizontal, but like I don't know, it's just. It's not his. It's not Leonidas's. Oh yeah, so we're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
Guys. Oh yeah, that's us.
Of all the Assassin's Creed games, this is one of them.
Yeah. He's never like seen any of the story.
Not really. I think I played like the intro and I skipped the cutscene.
Yeah. And
These graphics are pretty okay.
yeah, they like his stuff though. It like morphs with his body.
Yeah.
No. It kind of almost looks like it does. I don't know.
I think it has to do with how the lighting moves.
Yeah, I think it might just be the lighting. I don't know, but it almost looks like his.
Okay, the shoulder part. Like,
Yeah, the shoulder part is kind of deforming with his arm. It's like really soft
actually, it's
metal.
happened to all of them.
Huh.
Huh.
It's really soft metal, like
It is.
really soft
It's
metal.
real soft as bronze.
To be fair, bronze wasn't like a great
No,
metal.
it was functional.
I mean, it was
not
it was so weird. Do you know like I've told you like
Yeah.
the logistics of how to like make
Yes,
bronze in the
yes.
ancient day. It was ridiculous. You had to outsource from like extremely far off countries in order to get all the tin you need.
Yep. Like how you did the Captain America shield toss.
I know, yeah. That move is 100% possible.
Alright. What if Ragnar Lothbrok from the hit TV show Vikings showed
Oh
up?
my god. Not worth it.
Don't worry, I'll enthuse everyone with my riveting commentary abilities, skills even. It's probably fine. Oh, it's not fine. Yeah, I did it. I killed the man with the spear.
The lady has been negotiated.
Yeah. Here you go. There's people trying to kill you.
I got a chocolate shake out of the negotiation.
Oh, wonderful. That means you went well. As is customary.
What if that was customary for the United States? Whenever we win in diplomacy, we get chocolate shakes.
You know, that doesn't sound that far off.
But from the other country, though.
Yeah.
That'd be
It's part of our negotiations. Like, oh, this negotiation will not be over until you give us a chocolate shake.
Yeah.
And other countries are always like,
That'd be really
fine.
weird, though, that we had that amount of negotiating power.
It's not even really that we have that much power. We're just that stubborn.
Yeah. And that,
And it's just a minor enough thing where most countries are just like, fine, whatever.
yeah.
Nice.
But I imagine Russia would be like, no, I'm not making you a chocolate shake.
No.
I
They
guess
already
so.
had a couple there. Putin always ask for one before he starts every negotiation.
No, but we also asked, like...
Yeah. No, like I said, they keep extras.
Oh, I
Even
see.
though it's just like, oh, it's already there, I guess you can take one. But all the American, like, diplomats that are there have to share
Yeah.
the one.
Alright, I wouldn't like that part.
So it's like a big, like, milkshake that has like 12 straws in it.
You get 30, yeah, you get 30 people down. You're like, all right, now it's your turn for the sip.
Yeah.
You're like, It kind of reminds me of like there's a movie on Netflix. It's like I believe it's a like Mexican horror film, or maybe, or not necessarily like a horror film, but it's just kind of a weird movie.
Yeah.
And like this guy wakes up in this prison. And it's a vertical. It's kind of like a vertical prison. So like the cells are stacked on top of each other, and it seems to just kind of go like endless in either direction. And every day, like the food, like it seems like start at the top, and people can eat from it, and the food gets passed all, and it's like a big enough banquet for like everybody to like get enough of. But yeah, like by the time it gets down to like the lower levels, like most of it has been eaten, and a lot of it's just like leftovers and stuff. And it's really disgusting.
Yeah, it sounds good. It most definitely sounds like a film.
Yeah. Would you hate being in that situation?
I wouldn't mind it if I was near the top.
No, you're like in the main character, so like you're
At the bottom.
or yeah, just like at a very not like at the dregs bottom, but like at the this is like at the part where like you would start probably like if you were a busser, you would be like, I gotta clean up that table.
I'd be pretty upset. Yeah. But I guess it could be worse. I could be at the very bottom, getting like the absolute minimalist.
Yeah, it's like least amount of food and lowest quality.
Yeah,
it's like
1 grain of rice on like some like dirt or something like smeared on a plate.
Yeah, some spilled like
milk.
Yeah, and some spilled. I was thinking like barbecue sauce.
Yeah. But for some reason, there's always a giant jar of relish left over. How's the milkshake? Milky, shaky, even.
It's pretty good.
Awesome.
It's actually Oreo.
That's cool.
Oh no!
You better watch it. Get a fight.
I do.
Rouge.
Oh, but it will give me enough time to lock on.
So does that hit film 300 I've heard so much about?
Yeah, exactly.
Directed by Dan Schneider.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's who. No.
What if it was? What if it was? And you like?
Who else?
You thought it was Zack Snyder this whole time, but it's actually Dan Schneider.
Is Dan Schneider even a real guy?
Yeah, Dan Schneider's the guy who did iCarly and Drake and Josh and stuff.
Isn't he like? Is he the producer or is he the director?
He's like the creator of it.
Isn't he the like weird creep guy?
Yeah, he is.
Oh. That's not good.
There's like an extended shot in the movie that had to be removed by corporate, and it was just like a close up on
of like feet.
Or it was the Persian. Is it
of Xerxes'
yeah,
feet?
Xerxes' feet. Yeah, and it's like 20 minutes long, and that's all it is.
That would be kind of funny. I'd be like, all right, Dan, you're not even like hiding
and
it.
And the producer's like, we cannot put this in the movie.
Like, Dan, you're really not even able to hide this.
And he goes, all right, 5 minutes of this, and they go, no.
My son is more of a warrior than you. Once I'm done
That's
with
rude.
you, King,
You don't know if your son's better than me at warrioring.
Wow. That's how Xerxes died, apparently.
Yeah.
What if that you just like basically if you got to go back in time to the real Battle of Thermopylae, and you got to see like they looked like, and that was pretty much how his death was. So, like he just kind of stabbed him, and he did like a weird little flip.
janky video game.
I'd also be like, I'm pretty. This is really weird because he didn't die.
Yeah, exactly. At that battle. What would you do if similar situation? Except instead of like a spear, he's holding like a platypus. And he's like, he has like a metal one, so it has like little spurs, and just going like this, they try to rub it on him.
That'd be a very complicated, like assassin's plot, or
it's the traditional way of Spartans killing people.
Yeah.
Don't ask where they got the platypus from.
Oh, okay.
Because they also don't know. They just showed up there one day.
Do you think it must have been really annoying, like back in the day, whenever there were all these little communities, all these little civilizations living around the Mediterranean, speaking different languages, and if they wanted to speak to each other, they like, okay, well, buck out the.
So one of us needs to know some of this.
Pretty much.
Yeah. You know, it would probably be a little bit annoying for a lot of them, though. I imagine they don't have much else to do besides like learning the other languages and like, interacting.
And plus, most of them could learn it probably pretty naturally by literally just going to that place and just interacting with the locals.
Also,
you know,
like depending on like how far they're going, the languages I would imagine aren't like super duper different. All of them, anyways. They're super duper different.
I mean, the Greeks had to talk to the Persians.
Yeah, that's fair. Gross.
Which means, at the very least, like some Spartan probably knew Persian, like some Spursian.
Oh, the ultimate warrior fusion.
The Spursian.
Yeah.
Spartan Persian.
Yeah.
That would be a really weird fusion between warrior classes.
That's true.
Right on top of it.
Yeah, I like how we're totally fixed on this game.
Yeah, no, it's enthralling even.
Yeah.
Where is Desmond?
Okay.
In Mali?
Is
Are
he
you sure we
Desmond?
can trust this thing?
No, I'm pretty sure he's out by
Could be
the,
just
what store was it again?
You're the boss.
Jewelry store or something, I don't know. There's like a jewelry store that they go to in that song. You don't even know what song I'm talking about?
No, off the top of my head, hold on.
It's a song that you should know.
It's a Beatles thing, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah, it's,
There's no keeping up with the tech industry these days.
was that a White Album
Crank up
song?
the simulation to
Mhm.
maximum sensory
I haven't finished listening to the White
synchronization
Album.
if you're up for it.
You've heard it though.
Yeah, I know you've played it before. I don't remember.
It's Desmond and Molly Jones.
Yeah.
Of Desmond and Molly. Happy ever after. Let's do normal.
Let's take this
Loading
one step at a time.
module.
Understood. If you're looking for
What if
something
American
more
English we start saying
intense,
module as
speak to me
module?
later. This bit will let me know how much
Module.
information will be fed to you during your time
Module.
in the
Module.
animals.
Yeah.
You'd be like a little bit closer, I guess, to how it's spelled.
I mean, yeah, if you split it like directly across, like in like syllables,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, it'd be like literally that would be how it is. Cause we kind of like, cause as module, it's still 2 syllables. We just kind of like thread the syllables together,
Yeah. Yeah, module. Yeah.
so it'd be like more technically like English accurate, I guess, to actually have it be module.
Mm-hmm.
And it would follow the silent E like rule, because the U would be saying literally its name would be U.
Now, speaking of following stuff properly,
E.
I learned something today that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You probably won't like care about it, but if it, especially if it's true, like it won't really like do anything because the royal family has already been going on for so long. But
Yeah.
it is kind of crazy. Like, what are you looking for?
Keep going.
No, what are you looking for?
My phone.
You would have just had it.
Oh. So I said, don't worry about it. Just keep going about the royal family. The notoriously famous topic that I enjoy.
Oh yeah. What was it? Oh yeah. So basically, I'm just gonna be Alexios.
Yeah.
So like the male.
He will lead us down the right path, I'm sure. All right, boss. We're finally good to go. 4:31.
Oh yeah, that Edward the Fourth. So Edward. Yeah, I don't know if you know who Edward the Fourth is or how long ago that
Off
was.
the top of my head.
Oh, yeah. So Edward the Fourth, like, oh man,
The 4th of the Edwards.
timeline wise, he would be like So you know where like Henry VIII is in like history?
Roughly, yeah.
His mother's father was Edward the Fourth.
Aye, aye, Captain.
So that's like where it would be in time, like
Okay.
a couple generations before Henry VIII, right? There is new evidence to suggest. Well, it's not really new actually. It's I guess just being all maybe pieced together for the first time.
Go on.
That Edward the Fourth is probably not a or probably not legitimate, and probably wasn't a legitimate heir to the throne. He was supposed to be, but so what that means is that literally all the royal family today would be annulled, I guess,
They wouldn't be very royal
or
at all.
deposed. And the documentary that this was all came out like back in 2004 in a documentary hosted by Tony Robinson.
Yeah.
And in this documentary, they actually track the guy who would be the current king based on like the rules of succession.
And he's making what's it called, pies and mash.
Yeah, no, he actually is a guy in Australia.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
Yeah, who he actually moved there within his life. He's not like he's not like
but he wasn't forced there.
Yeah, he also wasn't like a third or fourth generation guy. He literally just moved there
He's
with
like,
his
"Oh,
life.
really? I'll go down to the Australia.
Yeah, like him.
Yeah.
And
That's what he's thinking right now.
yeah, he died back in like 2012. But he has a son. But yeah, they actually knew that they were like
Descended.
they knew that they were like definitely related to royalty because they are through their lineage to the Plantagenets. But he had no idea that
Tell your boss.
he would be like the next in line technically if things had
Yeah,
gone.
actually, I went normal.
Yeah.
Malaka.
That would be pretty weird though.
Yes, it would.
So act tough.
Especially if like it was verified, and then they literally were, and then the royal family was literally just like, okay, fine, you can have it.
Yeah, right. They wouldn't try to stop it or anything. Be like, well, we're already in the Cassiel. And...
I know, yeah. Exactly. I was thinking like,
I mean, we've been here for a few generations.
this would be about like 500 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the evidence came out because we know where Edward's mother was, and we know where his father was. They were both like out on a campaign, but they were both about 100 miles apart from each other during about like a 5-week time period where Edward must have been conceived.
Yeah. Interesting.
Though apparently this has been disputed by like royalists and by people who've looked into this, because they've argued that like based on like traveling times that like 100 miles isn't impossible, I guess, to like go to and fro from.
Yeah, to and fro. That's a good phrase. Watch out, there comes Foib.
Oh, wait, how'd you pronounce her name?
I said Foib.
Foib?
Yeah,
it's Phoebe.
Foib. No, it's Foib.
Okay, cool. I'm sure that it would actually be something more like PB or something.
Probably, actually.
Because they didn't have. I'm pretty sure they didn't
Where
pronounce it.
Where does the PHF sound?
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure because I know in Latin for a fact.
Yeah.
Just.
What an educational stream.
Yeah, no. I know that in Latin for a fact it's pronounced with a hard P.
Yeah.
So it's really pronounced like.
Yeah. Yeah. Really aspirated.
Yeah. And I'm not.
What does that
Well, I'm pretty sure. No, I think ancient Greek does have an F sound. I mean, Latin does too.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, does it come or does the PH make that sound? You know, I'll look it up right now.
It might be.
Where? Not here. Where?
Like, I know that in. I'm pretty sure in modern Greek.
PH.
I'm pretty sure in modern Greek.
Yeah, go on.
The what is it?
Since when has he had the vineyard?
Shit, I can't think right now. Oh, in modern Greek, if you want to make a B noise, you can't use beta because beta, at least in modern Greek, is pronounced like beta with a V. So you have to use the letters M and P, I think, and that makes a B noise. I already know where this estate is. I don't know why I'm asking. Or it's not even a estate.
Okay. So apparently the PHF sound does technically originate from Greek.
Mm-hmm.
From the letter, I think it's pronounced phi.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that was used in a bunch of places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was an aspirated sound which Latin wrote as PH. They took words from Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, later the sound changed into an F in both Greek and Latin.
I'll have to go up top to get dressed.
It was pronounced. Okay. So this is both simultaneously an answer and not an answer?
Mm-hmm.
Because it implies that later on it became an F sound, but at first it was a different sound.
Mm.
Let's get this on.
It was just the fact that it was an aspirated PH, or an aspirated P sound, I guess. And there's naturally, I guess, morphed into an F.
Was it dangerous?
I mean, maybe if you said it to the wrong person. Because I stopped with the PHF sound, I don't like that. Where I'm from, we still go. You can wear this. Oh, it's Ezio Auditor.
I can.
Wow, you just look like an Assassin's Creed character from Assassin's Creed TM from Ubisoft.
Barely have all this stuff.
Yeah.
Can
you equip Kratos' axe from my favorite Assassin's Creed game? Assassin's Creed. Oops, there goes Greece.
What that wasn't.
If I was in charge of making Assassin's Creed game, I'll totally make one that was called Oops, there goes Greece.
Oops, all Greece.
Oops, all Greece. Oops, there's grease everywhere. Watch out for Phoebe.
She gets grease everywhere.
Yeah, she carries a big bucket of grease and keeps falling everywhere.
What do you think about like the fact that like so you already know about like ancient Greek statues, right?
Yeah.
But like a lot of them were usually just kind of things like this,
Yeah.
or not necessarily like a full body, and they
There's
was
like a bust.
and yeah, and a lot of them would be kind of small, like maybe
Yeah.
human size ish, you
Yeah.
know. And they would just kind of litter the fucking place,
Yeah.
especially like in cities.
I mean, it's like the horse statues where we live.
Yeah, pretty much. And it'd be always just different types of gods and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
just different deities. Or like important figures, I guess. Too.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, this comes down to like, well, I mean, what else are you gonna do back in this day? If you're like an artisan who carves marble or whatever, or stone,
Yeah.
like what else are you gonna do besides just keep putting them in places?
Straight ahead.
Like for example, Sparta, like with how minimalistic they were,
Yeah.
like their city would like usually was, I believe, marked at the outskirts of the city was just marked by seeing like just a little bit more abundance of statues
I guess that
around
makes sense.
around the roads,
Yeah.
which then just kind of evolved into like, or went into like a gradient of like houses,
Yeah.
and then just like small. Yeah, Sparta was a really small
Yeah.
place.
I mean, Greece is pretty small.
Yeah, but like if you were to like go back into ancient Athens, you would at least be like, okay, this is like a city.
Yeah, it's noticeable compared,
Yeah.
compared to the others.
But if you went back to ancient Sparta, you'd be like,
oh, this is Podunk Town.
yeah, you'd be pretty much like, where is everybody?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Why are all these slaves everywhere?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in general, like ancient cities, or in general, probably weren't like, very big most of the
Rome, you'd be like, okay, this is a city.
Yeah.
And in fact, most cities in Rome, I would say, would probably meet in Brundisium, Ostia, not Appia, Tusculum.
Uh-huh.
Together we will revolutionize winemaking. Believe me, you will look back on this.
You know
Is
what
that you?
You know what that main character looks like a little bit?
Uh-huh.
He kind of has the same face as Hassan. Sanabi.
Yeah. The main character, like
Yeah.
Alexios, that's funny. Never heard. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that Alexios.
And I look
looks like-
just the face, like a
Yeah,
little
I
bit.
can kind of see it. He looks a little bit skinnier, actually.
He is a little bit thinner. Like,
Yeah.
It also looks like his head's just a little bit like longer,
Hmm.
but it looks a little bit like Hassan. You
I
put
can
some
see
glasses on him. and
I
cut
can
his
see
hair.
Alexios streaming, reacting to interrogation videos.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how to grow grapes or make wine.
I'm a fast learner.
Because back in Sparta, we didn't do this.
Then you get some wine.
It's that simple.
No, he's like those travel people from that one YouTube channel you watch. He was like, "Oh yeah, we did this. We invented this."
Always has a plan.
Or
What was
whatever.
that?
There's that one channel you're telling me about. It's like tribal people, and one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, the
we-
tribal. I think he said child people.
Child.
Of course.
Oh yeah, it's the child
Not
people.
at the moment.
Get it.
Instantly, my friend, instantly. But maybe you should do that. There is a merchant in Sami. I'm not very good at these things, as you know.
I guess he's not.
As you know, as you know,
I mean, I
good old
do now,
Marcus.
yeah.
Waiting for
Do you think you'd be friends with him?
No,
Alright. Do you think you'd be friends with anybody in this game? You had to be.
I don't know. I don't know enough of
Oh. Damn! They were in the background. They went away. Whenever we're out of this cutscene, I'll try to show you. But I wanted to show you the ancient Greeks. They wore hats. Like,
yeah.
and they were pretty ridiculous looking because they like you wouldn't expect like what you'd imagine like an
Yeah.
ancient hat to look like, but it was just like a big brimmed like
Yeah.
hat basically.
Sounds pretty cool. I don't know, the Greeks are like weird, so I can see them doing something weird like that.
I mean, it wasn't like a
Common thing.
well. I mean, it wasn't like a. It wasn't a part of like an outfit. It was like a thing that like just like normal people would wear
Yeah, you
to like to
throw
keep the sun out of their
Yeah.
eyes. You know.
I mean, yeah, that's the
How do
function
you
of
want to
a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And now we're threatening them and maybe more.
You better have my money. I'd hate to have
Let's
to
see if
sell
there's
it.
anybody in the comments section.
The chat, nope.
Nope. Oh boy.
Not yet. Oh.
Wait, what happened?
Oh.
No.
Okay, it's pause, it's pause.
Okay, good.
Of course he
Yeah,
will.
this is what you're gonna go like,
Okay.
After
No.
this, another matter I want to discuss.
You shall be punished.
Fine, but I'm taking a horse. It's too hot, Too long a walk to go on.
Okay, what if this game was like the exact same, but Alexios just has like a big old dent in the top of his head. So he dropped on his head as a child. And he's a little like baby and has soft spot still. It didn't kill him. It didn't leave lasting brain damage. It just affected the shape of his skull permanently.
I mean, I guess it'd be like more in-depth character background. I guess and like add like an added layer to his backstory. But
If I learned that, I'd be like, wow, this game's stupid.
yeah.
I made my choice.
Which one will it be?
I don't know, which horse do you think I should go with?
The middle one, it looks restless.
Jesse?
It was really schmoovin' at first.
I'll take the one in the middle.
Fine choice. But this particular breed has a few quirks.
You know what's dumb though? Is that he says this with literally every option that you pick. So it's
Yeah.
like, what's the point? It would be cooler if it was like.
This is the one I want.
I agree.
It would be cooler if it was like some of them actually did have different.
Stats or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're supposed to kind of have like different stats because like one is supposed to be like for terrain. The other one's supposed to be like for like it doesn't scare easily. And the other one's supposed to.
But I guess bumped through the hat.
Oh yeah, it's because it's fast. Yeah. See the hat? Yeah. It's pretty much what they look like.
Straw hat.
Yeah. It's like a basic straw hat.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Who else? Snatched her right
And yeah, it wouldn't be uncommon to see
I
that.
mean, that makes
in
sense.
the direction of Itimena Beach. The beach? Can she swim?
I'll get her.
Yes, go. But don't
I don't know, it's just something that I imagine people don't really think of when they think of ancient Greece.
Probably not.
Probably think of like people wearing.
But like, it makes sense if you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't they have hats?
I know exactly. Like we've had straw for like a long
Ever.
time, and I'm pretty sure people figured it pretty
You can
quickly
weave
on.
it very quickly.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff like baskets are really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And like sandals, I'm pretty sure originally like a lot of wool and stuff.
So yeah, like I can see why hats were pretty big, especially because like oh my god, they keep the sun out of my eyes. I can actually like.
That's wonderful, amazing. We must thank all of the gods.
Do you think the first guy to make the first like hat was like pretty happy with himself?
No, because he probably screwed it up first. Probably made like a flat disc and he tried to lay it on his head.
Or the first time that it worked though? You think
Yeah, he's probably like, finally.
Or I'll tighten those ropes.
he tried with just like a plate or something?
Yeah, a little bit. It was made of like straw and it was like slightly bent.
Yeah.
Oh no, you gotta say Phoebe.
I gotta say Phoebe.
Yeah, she got caught.
Keep quiet.
She didn't get caught.
I'm in caught. My name's Phoebe, I got caught.
Tall grass will
Sound the
keep
Phoebe.
Yes, I'm aware how to do this.
No, you don't. You never
the
know.
rest of those Malakas get away.
Or that's what Ubisoft thinks is like you would never be able to figure out the mechanics of this game if we didn't give you the tutorial.
And I'm like, I don't know if I fully agree.
That wasn't a very...
Especially given the fact that on-screen prompts happen.
That Marcos is going to be next.
That worked.
Kill that person. Kill them until they are no longer alive. Did you do it?
Time
Yeah.
to get Phoebe out.
How do you know?
Well, they're not moving right now.
I mean, yeah, but I don't move sometimes.
Yeah, but see all that like red stuff?
Yeah, it's ketchup.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't worry about Phoebe yet. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yay, I did it.
Are you alright?
Cool, you're at Ketamine Beach.
I'm at Ketamine Beach? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs is there.
Phoebe, just be careful. You're alone.
Careful, there's too much ketamine out there
Yeah.
for the child mind to handle.
Phoebe, you're not ready for that amount of ketamine.
But I am, Alexios, I am.
You don't even know how much ketamine I've been doing.
That'd be a really different
It would
game.
be a very different game. Probably a worse game overall, but way funnier. Are you just trying to get this little girl to stop taking ketamine?
Stronger than that.
Don't give in! It's coming!
You have to take more ketamine than
Than ever before.
Again. Up.
Yes, Butter.
Spartan rises as soon as they have fallen.
Unless they are dead, which they
Like, we
don't.
literally enter a superposition state where we are both falling and getting it back up at the same time.
It's kind of like trampoline, you know. You hit the ground, immediately back up.
But like science can't even explain it. Like there's like a brief moment where we have like an after image where it looks like we're doing both at the same time.
Schrodinger's up is what we call it.
What if that was like you found like an ancient Greek source that like attested to that?
And I bet they were on their ketamine.
I imagine so. Whoever wrote that down was like, I saw a bunch of Spartans. They literally could not fall down. As soon as they fall down, like
They were already up the end. In fact, they were up before they fell down somehow.
yeah.
Oh, not her. Take me instead. I'm tasty.
Yes, you're all sweet as honey. Now, come inside.
The ketamine is getting cold.
Yeah, your big plate of ketamine. It's piping hot. Get it while it's hot. Oh yeah, it's my favorite. A meal of ketamine and grits. The two essential food sources in Greece.
Is that kerosene for for lunch?
Oh boy, kerosene. It's one of my favorites, right behind just oil. And not like olive oil or anything like crude oil.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever actually seen crude oil?
No,
No, me neither. I don't think so, at least.
I hope it's not too crude or rude.
Would you like it a lot more if our equipment could run off of crude oil instead of?
No. Oh, he had a ketamine like flashback.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Like you have to go to the gas station, like slowly kind of leaks out of the nozzle, like you do. Like it's all
It's like a
viscous.
sludge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like tar.
Yeah.
Just like shove it in like the gas tank.
You have to get like handfuls of it.
Yeah, I hate it.
Looking like a big
You
stick.
see some guy like across the street and he's like doing it too, but he's like looking around and occasionally he like licks his hands.
Like really nervously.
Yeah, he's looking around. He doesn't even know that he really likes to taste crude
I
oil.
don't like this world that we've created.
Of crude oil, ketamine.
Oh yeah, or the fact that we were like within like ancient Greeks made ketamine, like ate ketamine like all the time.
Think I know it. Oh, watch out.
I know. It is really funny to think about the fact that ancient man did do drugs a lot.
Oh, 100%. Got phobos.
You know, I thought it was funny. Like I was watching a video with Critical recently.
Yeah.
I was watching him react to a video about Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And he was talking about he basically was doing what I do, where like, man, we haven't changed at all. Like, man, we still do stuff like this, right? But he was just referring to like all this stuff like as if like it's like ancient history. And, like, dude, this is like
A few hundred years ago.
not even that. It's like
Jack the Ripper, that was 1800s, I think.
yeah. So it's like
Over 100.
yeah. So it's like it's not a few hundred.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's like 100 and
Like,
maybe
50. Like,
yeah, 150 years maybe.
And I think that's actually a little too.
Yeah, 4, 5 generations
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
You know, you're talking about like your grandparents' grandparents, like
It's true. It's true.
you know, like
I totally didn't even realize until like a few days ago. Not a few days ago, like a week or two ago.
mm-hmm.
That my grandma was born before World War II started.
exactly.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah. So imagine like her grandparents or
Yeah.
or their grandparents. You know,
Yeah.
but like that's still. But like again, like I like how humans. We have this propensity to, like, especially me. Like before I studied history,
Yeah.
I honestly felt like the previous 100 years before I was born must have been like, oh man, that was like all
Caveman time.
yeah, like basically like the before times, you know,
Yeah.
and that like we really started getting things going like pretty recently. Really, like that's like,
Yeah.
you know, I guess that's how I like perceptualized it or something.
Well, like in certain
Perceived
ways, that's not like entirely wrong, but in other ways, it's like, yeah, you're missing like a ton of things that we lived
Yeah.
forever.
But like Vic Critical, it kind of sounded like he was doing that with the stream. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, this is like all. I'm like, dude, again, we're not talking like we're still talking about like you can still speak the same language.
Yeah,
like if you went back in time, you
really.
could still talk to people.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
be like, oh hey, what's up? And they'd be
Yeah,
like,
they might have like a slightly weird vocabulary, but
Yeah.
like more or less
but
intelligent.
you could
Yeah.
easily
Yeah,
be able to
yeah, for
communicate with
sure.
him.
Double. That's robbery.
It's a robbery.
That's what you know him.
That is too much for the kid to me.
Psycho.
Look, I know you'd be dead.
Face it, once the Cyclops gets hold of you,
Should I kill him?
Yes.
Oh wait, but I can also just break his wares apparently.
I told you. I've paid
Well, which do you think is better?
What do you think? I don't know. I've made my decision like when I first played this game. It's your
Yeah.
it's you make your decision.
Can you do both? Can you break his things and then kill him?
No. I could maybe kill him and break his stuff.
It's not as interesting though. Just break his stuff then.
Okay.
So that way he has to live with the misery of having his stuff broken.
Okay, that's fair.
right. I'll pay you. Just stop.
Fine. The mine is yours.
Here is your ketamine.
Pleasure doing business with
Oh
you.
boy, I'm gonna eat well tonight.
I don't want the Cyclops coming after me for the debt. Can't pay.
So the dietary habits of these here Spartans is ketamine, grits, and crude oil.
And kerosene.
And kerosene, that's it. Those are the 4 food groups.
The 4 humors and the 4 food groups.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, the 4 humors are the exact same. There's
Oh,
also
yeah.
ketamine, crude
Oh
oil.
yeah, black bile is crude oil.
Yeah, there you go.
Yellow phlegm is like kerosene, I guess.
Yeah.
Ketamine is
Ketamine.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's ketamine thing started to catch on.
Yeah.
Look, it's Andre the Giant.
We're gonna console the historians by the end of the century that ancient Greece used to be full of
Yeah, we're gonna
ketamine.
gaslight the entirety of the history, world.
I have like enough historical knowledge to like to make it sound convincing.
Oh yeah, to be like, well, you see, actually.
Mhm.
Your glory is mystious forever, Marcos.
No, yeah, but the point is like, yeah, Jack the Ripper and stuff like that wasn't that long
Yeah, it
ago.
wasn't that long ago.
So it's not really like I wouldn't be like so like seeing stuff like from that point in time being like, oh man, we haven't changed at all. I'm like, it's not really that shocking. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Alexios.
How would you really?
In a way, like,
Smile on your
everything around us has changed a lot more. Like, 'cause we've made and pushed a lot of things forward, but our, like, mentalities
Exactly. Yeah.
hasn't changed all the way back up to, like, where we're at.
Mhm.
We can get the money back.
Yeah, like read read Catullus or Ovid, and you'd be like, oh yeah, we're still pretty much the same. That's like that's still like barely scratching the surface of the beginnings of human civilization. Well, you'd have to go back about 10,000 years for that.
We have no other choice.
That's what I do best.
This will take more than the usual tricks of yours.
I long for the old days. Remember them? They were simple. You had
Yeah, because, like, in a way, though, like...
Oh yeah, I forgot like the simple days of ancient Mediterranean times.
Yeah, ancient Mediterranean life.
How would you
Full of ketamine as far as the eye can see.
How would you feel like if you went back to like ancient Greece and like some guy was going like, oh man, back in my day, and,
Yeah.
like would you like if you could talk to them, would you be like, what do you mean back in your day? Your day was like literally no different from this day.
Yeah.
Would you? Or...
No, wait, you said like a Spartan, right?
No, I just said like
So
an
just
ancient
a
Greek
Greek
person. Like you just go back to ancient Greece.
I guess it depends, because I feel like if I try to say that to like a Spartan, he'd probably just like hit me or something.
No, it's an Athenian specifically, so they'll
Probably a little bit more like diplomatic.
they'll at most like argue with you.
Yeah, that's fair. I probably like it's not really that different.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's different,
But like,
but compared to when I am,
yeah. Well, and also just compared to the rate at which differences between generations
really
grow,
like, begin to show.
yeah, like is exponential now.
Yes, absolutely.
Used to be extremely slow,
Yep.
and again, the only differences that the generations would usually come across would just be differences in like ideology or thinking, modes of thinking.
Man, this guy has a real sharp-looking hairline as a child.
He just punches you.
What if, like, for 1 second, this model was changed with like a perfect model of like John C. Reilly?
You got a funny.
You hungry?
There's Will Ferrell.
He's later in the game.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right now, he's too busy like eating all this ketamine.
Oh, okay. I'm getting ready for his
his role.
He's
method acting.
yeah, he's a very dedicated method actor.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. But like I was saying, like in a way, we haven't caught up to ourselves yet.
Yeah.
Because like, in a way, society's still adapting to the existence of firearms.
Yeah, and to the existence of a lot of new stuff now, like
Yeah.
the existence of social media, the existence of like
Yeah, like we
fast communication, the existence
don't
of fast
even-
travel.
that's so like actually recent.
Yes, like all of this is like within like the last 100
Especially
years.
with how widespread it is now. Like, like even 15 years ago, internet was not as widespread as it is now, and it was widespread then.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I was, you know, to illustrate differences, I found out, I mean, I didn't really find out today, but, it's just weird to think that, it's now apparently, like,
I was just talking about you.
the people who, like, whenever they used to go to school and, like, school would be canceled potentially through, like, weather or, like, snow or whatever, there's, like, a difference now between, like, the younger generation who just, like, gets a text or, like, a call from
Yeah, or
school.
whatever. Yeah.
As opposed to, like, whenever we had to, like, turn on the news and wait for the...
Yeah, see it on the TV.
Yeah, that's like a
thing of the
dead.
past.
That's like a dead thing now, apparently.
Yeah, I mean,
at,
that makes
at least in the United States. Over
Yeah,
here.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
He's the silent
But
deadly.
yeah.
I don't care who does it.
A wonderful idea.
So-
Also, like we definitely haven't adapted to the amount of information we now have
Oh
access
no.
to.
You know what? That's what that is one thing that I do like about living in this era, though. Information is so easy to,
Not only is there so much of it, but so much of it's so easy to get to.
and yeah, like that's why I think that people don't really have an excuse to be dumb today, because it's like you can literally learn everything that you need to learn, like it like that. And I mean, like, things that you would
Definitely.
actually need to learn, or things that...
I mean, yeah, definitely for a lot of people, it's usually like. Obviously, there's still some people, even in the U.S., who doesn't have like access to like internet
Right.
or something very easily.
Mhm.
But like widespread, it's pretty easy to just be like Google how to not die.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And, so I do like the fact that we, like, learning... But, like, this also increases other skills, too, like... You know, like, learning can help you increase, like, critical thinking skills, so you're not as gullible.
Yeah.
Which, again, unfortunately, like, people of the past have been very susceptible to stuff like that.
There you go.
Um,
Good as new. That bow is as
So,
strong as
it is pretty cool, pretty wild, that we live
It's
in.
a very unprecedented state of being.
Yeah. Now, if we could end up like Viltrumites, that would be...
Yeah. Planet Conquerors.
I've already told you that,
Yeah, I
like,
know.
yeah, like, we need to do something about our biology in order to, like, be able to exist and thrive in
a space.
well, not necessarily, you know, conquering, but just an expansion stage. It doesn't have to be conquering, because, like, there might not necessarily be anything out
I mean,
there to
honestly,
conquer.
within our solar system, there's nothing else really to quote unquote
Conquer, yeah, like, it'd just
Like,
be,
it would just be us going to a planet and be like, this is ours, I guess.
yeah, it's just, yeah, like, free space.
Like, oh, Mars is mine. You guys get Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so planet conquering wouldn't be like a necessary, but yeah, because right now our human physiology is just so pathetic. Like I literally, like, I just perceive us as like hamsters.
Yeah.
Like little tiny
Yeah,
hamsters.
I was gonna say, oh, is in a way though we already are adapting like mentally in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like maybe the word independent isn't quite the correct word, but in a lot of ways we don't need to be told as much now for us to like figure things out. Not because we're quote unquote smarter or anything, but because we know how to access the information.
But yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like, and I kind of get pissed off like whenever people are always like presumptive and think that they could have figured out things easier back then. It's like, no, you're only smart. You're literally by definition only smarter because of all the information that we have up to this point gathered, which took people figuring it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like if Pythagoras' theorem didn't exist, do you think you'd be able to come up with it? I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't.
Or like even things about like far off lands, like I remember like I was watching like a what if, or not a what if series, but like a College Humor thing where they were talking about this guy who lied, and this is only like back in the 1700s, who lied about being native to like Taiwan or something.
Yeah.
And people are like, the character's like, oh my god, everybody actually believe this? And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah. I'd be like, if you've never
seen anybody else,
if you've
from
never
Taiwan.
seen, if you've never even heard of Taiwan,
Yeah.
and you've never seen a map of like where Taiwan is, and you've probably never even been to another foreign country and have no reference to like what those cultures are like, then yeah, it's not hard to believe that you could be tricked into believing that some guy comes up to you and says like, "Hey, I'm from this country that you've never heard of or seen before."
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say too. I do think it's kind of interesting though, because while I feel like in a way we're quote unquote like more independent, I feel like part of it was a necessity. I feel like the last like generation of people raising like kids or whatever, I almost feel like a lot of them taught their kids less directly. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like I was told a lot less than like, you know, whatever, like my uncle or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, my dad told me this or whatever. But obviously I was still taught stuff. But I feel like there's some stuff that apparently I was just supposed to quote unquote like know, like how to fill out taxes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, nobody told me this. I just, thankfully we have stuff that makes it easy to do.
Yeah, nowadays it's a lot.
But still, it's still like some degree of way about how.
Let's hear it then.
I feel like there was definitely a point in time where you could have been up to like your parents or whatever, like an uncle, and they would have been like, oh yeah, here, just how you fill out taxes. But I put up to like my uncle now, he'd be like, you don't know how to do that?
I know, yeah.
Now obviously I can't speak 100% on that because I didn't grow up then, I grew up now. But that's what it seems like. At least in terms of like how the cultural zeitgeist has fed me information.
From your perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, this is a pretty unprecedented.
Yeah, it's true. Well, what a surprisingly deep conversation over Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I know, yeah.
Done talking about them eating ketamine. Into that, into like, oh yes, society has changed, but have we?
No,
The beast has not changed.
But people like to think that they are because they. Like seriously though, like I really doubt that people like today, without the knowledge that they were given as kids, could be able to figure out much of anything that people had to deal with back then.
I don't know.
Keep to the west side of... See?
It's your defense.
Bring me the...
Got it.
Pull this up.
Alright, let's go get this eye now.
An eyeball.
Eyeball.
The eye should be inside the Cyclops lair.
Now to find the eye. If it's as valuable as Marcos says, it will be hidden.
So Wolfman.
I also think part of that, like, oh, people nowadays wouldn't be able to do whatever back then. Well, at least, at the very least, partially true. Part of it's definitely one of those things where it's in those, like, hindsight is 2020 things where we look back on it and go, well, of course that's how that is.
Well, yeah, but again, though, like, as I said, like, knowledge is literally, like, the accumulation of,
true.
like,
It's true.
all of a bunch of other
Like,
things.
information from generation to generation.
Yeah. That like that literally only kind of gets greater, especially now with our ability. Especially with our ability to preserve it. We can and access it to at any time we want. That knowledge is only getting bigger, but it's literally it's only based on the fact that time goes forward. So, like,
yeah,
I mean, because I'm sure, I guarantee you that like 300 years from now, people will look back at this time period and be like, "Why didn't they do this?"
Idiots.
Or why didn't you do this? Why didn't you know about this? How did you not know about that?
How could you not time warp yet?
Yeah.
Idiots.
Well, it doesn't even have to be like crazy stuff like that. It could just be like stuff that
I'm exaggerating it for.
Yeah, but it could be stuff that we can't even foresee right now that like might happen in like the next 20 years that we totally just happens out of nowhere that we don't foresee happening, but technically all the signs were there that just none of us saw, but in the future we're like, oh yeah.
Well, if you went like back like 40, 50 years, you probably would not have been able to predict the iPad, even though a lot of technology to some degree existed.
Exactly, yeah. It's kind of, to me that's kind of how it's like. It's like, that's like criticizing people in the 70s for not knowing what an iPad would be, or for not being able to
foresee such an invention. Yeah, no, it's definitely like a hindsight thing. When it comes to like the knowledge thing, though, there is like the sort of scary thought, and Metal Gear Solid 2 actually went really deep into this. Essentially, the idea of like a government or some sort of controlling force, like quote unquote, like curating the information you have access to, you know, changing. Essentially, like 1984 a little bit,
right?
Right. It's like, oh well, there is X or Y piece of information, but you can only get this very hyper specific version of it that benefits us, like narratively or whatever, you know. So it'd be like, oh yeah, no, like let's say like hypothetically, you know, you go to like the space race, America, first people on the moon, or whatever. But let's say you go to like Russia, but they have curated the information available.
Right.
And it says, oh no, Russia was the first people on the moon.
Yeah.
And there'd be no way to find that information unless you left Russia entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like a scary thought.
Yeah, being able to control it too. But luckily, I at least think that it not for everybody. Obviously, like this isn't like a one way thing, one way or the other. But I think it gives us the potential to increase our critical thinking skills.
Well, yeah, because if somebody starts trying to pull such an action, we can go, hey, wait.
Yeah, and just obviously spot it.
Yeah.
I see you.
So I think that that's not the worst.
Yeah.
Or that it's guaranteed
So
for
far,
something like that
the
to
big
happen.
thing seems to be that there's no way to actually curate the amount of information right now and how much gets added and changed currently.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that it would also just be impossible to regulate all. If the government was truly trying to regulate information and skew it to whatever it wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure that people could just anonymously start force feeding contrary information on the out on the internet or somewhere on some service that they couldn't no matter how much
like in China, IPNs are very, is that what they're called? No, VPNs.
Yeah, VPNs.
I think it's an IPN. I think I'm thinking of an IPA.
Anyways, yeah,
they often use VPNs to go on stuff like YouTube because you can't in China, so they get information from the outside world too.
Yeah. So again, so
it's very hard currently to have full information control. It would be easier, at the very least, if the world was united 100% under one big government, which more than likely just isn't going to be feasible, at least for a long time.
My character looks kind of goofy.
Yeah, I know. He didn't even T-pose. He kind of went yay.
I know.
They're like an old animated Gmod video.
I can see a little dead NPC that you're manipulating.
Yeah. Yeah, no, information's great. We live in a very wild world.
Wild west world.
The issue, though, is that while, yes, to a degree, there is the critical thinking of obviously, X or Y thing is obviously fake, we are also currently seeing that not enough people are good enough at critical thinking.
Yes.
Because a lot of people get pulled into the world of alternative fact.
Yeah.
The vaccine's putting a little microchip in you. So that way the government can...
that's the thing, is rumors are super easy to spread now too.
And enough people are still very gullible to be like, oh, it's true, I saw it on the internet.
Yeah, those Quidam Malafabulas are pretty annoying.
My racist aunt posted it on Facebook. Therefore it must be true. So there definitely would be a group of people that if they started just actually trying to curate information, they would be like, no, that's what the information is.
And so I'm confident about that. I'm more worried about I don't know, just warfare or actually, another interesting thing about technology, though, that has been kind of nice is that it actually does make major warfare a lot less likely because conflicts can now be usually resolved quicker.
Almost instantaneous.
Yeah, mainly because nowadays we can actually the public of those countries can actually kind of put peer pressure on their country.
At least to a degree.
Yeah. They can be like, I don't want to go to war, please.
But yeah, not societally. As a species, we can't really have another full-blown war functionally, because we'd all die.
Yeah.
And that's almost inevitable even right now, if that were to happen.
Yeah.
Your health is
I know, I'm literally off by a smidge. There's more people here.
You should use your Estus.
Wish I had that. Just try to steal this real quick.
Yeah.
So we can try to leave. Nope. Oh man,
this is awesome. Don't worry, you're not stuck in there with them. They're stuck in there with you.
I'm not sure how true that is. This guy might be.
go.
Gotta get the hell out of here.
Gotta run, 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 run.
I say I gotta run.
I say it out. That's our new hit song. It's dropping this summer. Not this summer, next summer. It's gonna be our hit mixtape. Whatever Man the mixtape. Featuring hit single Run, 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 You Gotta Be Running. And Ketamine on the Rocks, please.
Ketamine tonic.
Ketamine and tonic. Gin ketamine.
I hate this this alternate future where like humans are like, just taking hardcore.
Yeah, we just subsist off of just ketamine.
It'd be bad.
No, we would not function.
Or we could potentially have like a higher functioning
Autism.
yeah, than we've ever seen before.
There we go. What are you talking about? Yeah, this is a weird stream. It's been all over the place.
I know, yeah. We haven't really been focusing much on the actual game. I have been playing it.
I would argue that's almost optimal, though.
Yeah, like I have been playing it. It is getting done. Oh man.
But
The
yeah.
oh my god, what the hell? Why did you just start fighting me? What the hell?
I don't know. That's weird.
Oh wait.
Shit. I should take care of that.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like they're like hired thugs. I completely forgot about that. It's a thing that happens.
No.
Would you be really angry if you were that big guy?
Yeah.
Fighting him, fighting this guy.
Yeah, if I'm fighting Hassan Abi, the Greek version.
What would you do if you? Would you start talking like maybe to him by this point? Be like, hey, stop doing that.
Maybe.
Especially with your life like this, like low. Like you feel it too. Like you feel your life is like, oh
I can
no.
literally see my health bar. Oh, I have 8 pixel left. I definitely want to be happy about it.
I would hate if we like had the technology to display our yeah as like
no,
a
it's
health
like that
bar.
crappy movie with what's his name, Justin Timberlake, with like the time on the arm.
Yeah.
What was that movie called?
Like 8 something.
Timeless. I don't know.
I thought it was like a specific number. It was like
It
8
definitely
hours
isn't
or
timeless. Oh, I can Google it. I can Google
Time's
it.
out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Time out. Out of time.
Time is out for you.
Out of time, maybe.
Yes.
No, I don't think that's it.
Yeah, I remember the one you're talking about, like the one
Yeah.
where everybody has
and
the
then, like,
little clock.
Yeah, like the game where they try to like force the hand over to like steal the other person's time.
Mhm.
Oh, don't be upset.
I'm just typing Justin Timberlake time movie.
Oh yeah, and then like and the currency
Is also time.
Yeah, so like it's like 5 minutes for like a cup of coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
How would you feel if we started?
That would stress me out. Because not just like, oh, there's a limited amount or whatever.
Yeah.
It's, oh, I can see when I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna be thinking about that.
And anytime you want to buy something, you have to give up like
it's a portion of essentially my life.
yeah.
It's called In Time.
In time, okay.
The Cyclops is going to kill him.
I wonder how well it did. 174 million in the box office. It's
I think that's an
reasonable.
so.
More money than I have.
No.
Take them
Yeah.
out, and that's one.
6.7 out of 10. You know what? That's fair enough.
All right. Here you go.
The eastern coast.
Yeah, anyways, yeah. Why did I start talking about In Time for?
Because I asked you if you were that big guy. what would you
Oh,
think?
yeah. No, being able to see your health bar remind me of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not like that.
I would hate being able to see my own health.
On the
bar.
other hand, it'd be kind of nice being like, oh, I should definitely stop. I'm at like half health.
Yes.
If I keep this up, it's gonna be bad.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, there's also the looming, just like,
I'm gonna.
I have this much left of not dying.
And again, your current how bad would you feel like every time you just went out to like buy groceries or something? You're just like, okay, that'll be 30 minutes.
That's one of those situations where it's like, well, I can't not buy groceries, and
Yeah.
then I'll die for a different reason. But also, like, I'm losing life anyways.
How would you
lose.
So how would you feel like going to the counter? Would you be like, or would you be like, oh well?
What would you have done if the movie was just called?
You didn't answer my question.
What was it?
I said, so how would you feel if you went to the counter, like, you're about to, like, check out your groceries? Would you be like, man, I hate this? Or would you be like, man, whatever? Or would you be like,
At the very least, at first, I'd be like, I hate this.
like, would you, like, specifically at the moment, whenever you're transferring over your 30 minutes,
Yeah.
like, what's going through your head, or your emotional state at that moment?
It's probably like, oh, I have 30 less minutes to live. I don't like that.
That guy had, like,
None.
Yeah, he just died.
Collapsed.
He just fell over and died.
What if that movie, though, was just called Time is Money?
That'd be funny.
You think it would be higher rated?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'll probably like it a little bit more just because the name's goofier.
I think it's funny because I'm pretty sure the only way to put people down is by dodging, because I have not been because like
Really?
triangle doesn't
Yeah,
do
it
it
doesn't
even
do
by
it.
holding it. Oh wait, what was that? Okay, so if I press my
Your weep on button?
yeah, my weep on button, it'll drop him in order to then take out
That makes sense.
his stuff, I guess.
That's interesting.
All right. Yeah, for like the longest time though, I thought you could only be
just
like,
hit a dodge roll.
yeah, so I would just have to go like.
So is that Ghost of Tsushima game I've heard so much about?
Yeah, takes place like I thought the I don't know,
I thought Japan used to look different, but I guess I was wrong.
And yeah, plus I'm not really up to date on my Japanese, but I'm not exactly sure
Yeah, I don't
if
think
I've
they
ever
named
heard of the
Kate Fate.
island Kefalonia.
Yeah. I don't remember the Japanese enjoying ketamine this much.
No, they were more of an LSD type of
And
civilization.
no, they're big fans of crocodile.
Well, that was true though, that they were.
I was like, whoa, dude. Have I not heard about this?
Why are all these ancient civilizations?
Just hooked up on just real hardcore drugs.
East of Kolodai.
Colia die
Of cholera.
of cholera.
Would
I mean, that's why you drink kerosene to help prevent the cholera from spreading through your body.
Would you go to Cholera Beach?
Cholera Beach?
Cholera Beach.
Cholera Beach.
Yeah.
No. That doesn't sound like a good beach to go to. That'd be like going to like Dysentery Spring or something. Like that.
I know.
Just conceptually, that sounds unpleasant. Alright, but counterpoint.
Uh-huh.
Would you go to the Brown River?
No. Yeah.
You can do the funny meme kick.
I can do the funny meme kick now.
You can go, this is movie.
This is movie. So hard.
This game is impossible. Delete it. Delete it.
Okay, would you be dumb if, or no, would you be dumb? Would you find it dumb if your child thought that this game was literally impossible to beat?
How young?
7.
No. I feel like a lot of 7-year-olds react to it whenever they can't get past a point in the game to be like, well, I guess you just can't beat it. Like, I feel like it's a very common sentiment.
That's fair. I definitely...
No, I had just enough knowledge to not think that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because I was like, oh, obviously games are meant to be able to be beaten.
Mm-hmm.
As much as a lot of the games I played, my brothers played and beaten.
Yeah.
Therefore, I'm like, oh, I can't beat it.
Yeah. Because you saw them beating it.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, clearly it's possible. I don't know how.
Right. Yeah, I had no references.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a lot of kids do actually think like, oh, this game is just unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Now my younger brother had reference with me playing games, and I don't know if that had any factor, but he didn't really have that mentality. I didn't really have the mentality of like this can't be beat. I just remember being like, man, this is really, really hard.
No, but I think it's pretty common though. I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure though if I.
Not necessarily the mentality, but like the thought going across your brain of, oh, this can't be beaten.
I'm not sure if I've ever actually like seriously thought that.
Like 100%.
Yeah, like that. Like this game literally cannot be beaten. Like as like meaning like the code like.
I mean, for the record, you had other crazy things like you just leave your PS3 on when you're playing that Transformers game.
Yeah. I had my PlayStation 3 that I just got. It was like the Well, it was just called the PlayStation 3, but yeah, it was the console that like most people don't have anymore. The original.
Yeah, the one that could play PS2 games.
Yeah, it was the
first model.
Yeah,
Watch
it
my
was
step.
black. It was big,
Yeah.
kind of bulky, round.
Yeah.
My
My PS3 is a weird one. Like it's like it loads on the disc on top. Like the top opens and you put the disc in the top.
That is weird.
Yeah. Most of them have the little like front slot.
Yeah, I had a PlayStation or I had a Transformers
Yeah,
game.
video game. Based on the hit film.
Yeah, the Michael Bay
Yeah.
film, and I did know how to like,
Save it. So you
Yeah, I
just left it on all the time.
I just pause it and go to bed and keep it on.
Yeah.
And then she burned out.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, no. If my kid was like, "Oh, this game's unbeatable," I wouldn't even be like, "Oh, yeah, you're really stupid." I'm just like, "Oh, you're a kid.
Yeah.
It is beatable. It's just hard, or whatever, or it's hard for you."
Yeah. Not even necessarily hard.
Yeah, but it's like it presents challenge for you.
Yes.
And you'd be like, "No, it can't be beaten," and then you'd have to do the thing where you just do it yourself and you'll see. And you go, "Oh."
Do you think that there's a skill to playing games and not being good at the game, and a skill to not being good at the game, but at a skill, but like, is there a skill at the ability to play games? In other words, like, is
The
there
ability to like just pick up and play a game. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, not just any game, and not necessarily naturally either. Not like I'm
Yeah.
not saying like you're talented, like where you can just like
No,
suddenly
no,
start
you're
playing.
saying is there a skill that you can develop
Yeah,
to where you can pick up a game and understand it faster than somebody else?
No,
No.
that's not what I'm asking either.
Okay.
I'm saying that is there a skill? Would you consider there to be a skill in which like you learn how to play games well, not in the sense that you're playing the game well, but you're being a good player, meaning that like you don't become a sore loser if you lose.
Oh,
meaning that you're
oh,
just like,
I see. Yeah, there's definitely a skill to that.
like, in other words, you develop a skill of
like
other
a
people.
good mentality. Of
Yes,
it.
in other words, you develop a skill of other people feel like playing with you more often
Yeah.
because you're fun to
I
play
think
with.
I think in a sense there is a skill.
Yeah.
It's less, obviously game related, almost more a social skill. But yeah, there's definitely a skill to that.
Right. I would say, because I would argue that that's more important than actually being good at games.
Yeah,
like,
well, yeah. If you're not like a sore loser, it's just a lot
Yeah.
nicer to be around.
And that still gives you the opportunity to play more games because more people will want to play with you.
Yeah.
Which will then give you the opportunity to then get better at the
'cause
game.
you'll have more options, like more possibilities. To
If you're a
play it.
sore loser, then you don't
People
really.
don't want to play with you very often.
Yeah, and you don't really get that much opportunity then because then
Yeah.
people won't want to
Yeah.
play with you as much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's also the fact too. There's another degree to this mentality thing.
Mhm.
Because there's like a self-defeating aspect of it too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I can't do it, so there's no point in even trying
Mhm.
to get better at
Now
it.
I have felt like that before,
Yeah.
like as a kid, a
Yeah.
lot. But I never thought that like it was physically impossible for anybody
But
to
to do it, yeah.
It was just like I can't do
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that's fair. I think that's
Yeah.
reasonable. Yeah. That's definitely like a part of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
No, because see, at first what I thought you meant was like
I know, yeah, being able to play like
quote unquote
yeah.
like game literacy.
Yeah.
Being able to pick up and like, understand
No.
the game.
And again, I also tried to expand this to like literally not just video games, but like literally any game. It could be
Yeah.
a sport, could be like
It could
a
be a
card
board
game,
game
could be
or-
like
yeah,
literally
yeah.
anything.
Definitely mentality is like an important skill to like build up.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are kind of more naturally like attuned personality wise to like being like that.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of people, I think it is something they just have to like learn how to do and like deal with.
Yeah, I mean that's actually like what was his name? Piaget, really famous psychologist.
Yeah.
He's particularly did a lot of work in studying children,
Yeah.
and that was kind of like what his whole thing was about. Is that children make games out of like literally everything, and the rules for these games are very emergent. Like they literally just kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But the rules are usually like understood by everybody within the group.
Yeah.
Because it's like, and like this is kind of true like for stuff anyways. Like if we start like smacking each other, but we
Yeah.
do it in a very particular way.
Yeah, we'll naturally like understand.
Yeah, that there's like a rule like I can only hit you after you
like-
hit me twice or
Or
whatever.
whatever. Like, oh, I can only hit you with the back of my hand.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and we pick up on that extremely quickly.
The shroud of Penelope? wife of Odysseus. You're joking.
Still nobody in the chat.
We should probably end the stream
Yeah.
soonish.
The actual
A piece of it, yes.
the actual intro or we're still on the
Yeah.
the little intro to the game. I'm almost done with the
Okay.
with that part.
All right.
Don't expect it to. Then it's agreed. There's a rowboat in the harbor. Use it.
I will.
Oh, and Misthios,
Yes.
don't fail.
Okay. What were we talking about?
Children creating games.
Oh yeah.
Head into the
And
house.
yeah, that's definitely a thing that
Let's try.
people that's definitely a thing that that we do as children.
Yeah.
Just create emergent games out of nothing. And
That's probably a really important skill because that develops like not only like social abilities, but the ability to like not only like subconscious, but even like consciously
Legendary shroud.
form like
Elpinor wasn't lying.
societies.
yes,
in a way.
yeah, well, yeah, like that's the thing. Like really, what games are is that they're just like imitations of things like in real life that kind of allow you to simulate or do certain things that you normally would in real life, but you like maybe can't because of like the stage that you are in life. So you learn the same stuff through other means, and games are usually the way that like games literally like are kind of like
Yeah.
right, not necessarily kind of. They pretty much are like one of the fundamental things that shape your personality,
Yeah,
because
100%.
they're literally what determine how
Well, I
you
mean,
react
like,
to.
that's why like war games are so prominent now because it lets us essentially raise soldiers. Essentially,
Mhm.
that's why they're so prevalent, especially here in the U.S.
Well, yeah, because people like then pick up an
then you
knack
know,
for strategy, and
You know,
then
like,
they pick,
or aiming,
Yeah.
or like working as a squad, or
Right.
whatever. And of course, we want that because America, at the very least, is a very militaristic country. Still, at least compared to like a lot of countries.
So like again, like the thing is for me,
Yeah.
I have no issue with like a military.
Yeah.
I would want, but like, as I've said before, I think that it would be like smarter if like we just all as a race united and made our own military from that, like, and have our own. Now again, like the standing military would, I guess, like if anything, just like defend what the human race is built and represented by that point.
Yeah.
Oh, I died.
Well, I think in a quote like an ideal society, we would be like one massive thing.
Yeah,
It's just it's
but I'd still want an army.
Yeah. like a self-defense force.
Yeah. That'd be again like the only thing that it could defend us would either be from aliens or just rogue people that like
Well, yeah, like a small like terrorist organization forms
of worms.
Let's
of
hope no one
worms.
notices.
Of worms.
What if there's a small terrorist organization of worms?
The legendary shroud.
I'd be like, oh, good thing I have my worm
Elpinor
sense.
wasn't lying. All the years I've lived on Kefalonia, I never realized the mighty Odysseus' palace was here.
I didn't know that either. Would you be pretty disappointed with yourself?
If I didn't know that either.
Yeah, if you're an ancient Greek and then like you found out that like basically like a mythical island was just like right off your
the shore.
yeah, off the island that you live at.
That would be like I didn't know that.
You're like Odysseus, he lives over there.
That reminds me of like a Dave Chappelle bit from one of his stand-ups. Where he's talking about his white friend was like high out in public and they were lost. And there was a cop nearby and Dave was like, I don't want to go talk to him. And his white friend was like super high and did it anyways. And the cop just goes like, are you high? And his white friend was like, yeah. And then the guy's like, oh, you shouldn't do that. And he goes, oh, I didn't know I couldn't do that. And he walks back over to Dave and he goes, you see, it's funny. Because I did know I couldn't do that.
It's funny. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, they're like all 1 or 2 levels higher than me.
Yeah. And I imagine at least this early in the game, that's a lot.
Yeah, there are like strats to deal with it. This guy's like a big boy, a tank.
These Talos, the stone
Oh
face.
no.
It's the freaking epic, dude. So what if you become like a major historical figure, but like your like title is the freaking epic gamer, dude? But yeah, you're known for like perhaps like your philosophy or like your diplomacy or abilities. But you're just known as Mason, the freaking epic gamer, dude. It's like 1,000 years in the future, they're studying you.
I know, yeah, and I'm still noticed that. That'd be kind of cool.
I'd be a little upset that would be like my moniker, because I'm like, man, it sounds like a joke.
Yeah, but at least I'm like, at least somebody remembers me 1,000 years from now.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But I wish, but it'd be like being known for like, oh yeah, this is the guy who like died from trying to eat like an actual living chicken whole in like Mumbai or something like. Yeah, it'd be cool that you'd be remembered, but it's just like, oh, why did I get remembered like that or for that, you know?
I'm sure that there'd be somebody out there that like would find it pretty cool in the future to be like, oh man, I wish it was him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're probably getting kicked out of the humanosphere. Being like, you're an obsolete human, you can't think well.
Do you think we should just go and save here?
Yeah, sure.
And,
I think we know. Yeah, we made like a decent chunk of progress. We talked about a lot about ketamine.
Well, yeah, and like literally like the ending to the
intro is like right here.
Yeah, well, it would be like right after this mission, pretty much.
I think it's fine. Do you think it's fine?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go and call it here. We'll be doing a pretty big stream soon. We should be like doing
perhaps tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be either tomorrow or probably the next day.
Yeah.
One of those Tuesdays. We'll be doing a probably like 5-hour stream or so, and be sure to catch us out on that. And we might even continue. We might even do a little bit more of this while we're doing the stream, but we'll be doing a lot of other stuff as well. So be sure to check it out.
Yeah.
And we'll all see you in the next round.
Bye.
Bye.
I know you still got to actually in the stream.
Yeah. I need to like make like a little
macro.
Yeah, macro for this.
Yeah, for real.
All right. Bye.